Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to make these akimbo pistol slingshots. These slingshot pistols were designed and made by Sprave, and there's going to be a link in the description to his video of them. So if you make two, you can shoot them with one in each hand, akimbo. But if you only make one, then you can shoot it with just one hand. Right, okay, so now let's see how you make them. So first you need to download the design of the slingshot pistol from a link in the description of this video. Then you need to cut it out and check that it fits your hand well. This size fits me well, with the length of the total wood being 28 centimeters long. Since my hands are rather small, you might have to experiment getting different sizes so that they fit you. Then draw around your design using a Sharpie onto the wood which you're using. Now you need to cut out your design. For this I'm going to be using a power jigsaw, but you can use any saw as long as you can cut the wood out, even a handsaw. So now that I've roughly cut out the basic shape, I'm going to round it. So first I'm just going to use files to shape this handle bit here. You can use files or rasps, but you can also use sandpaper. So now I've roughly shaped the handle and it feels really nice. I'm going to try and shape the rest of this so that it looks similar to this model pirate gun. Now that I've roughly rounded and shaped this top bit here so that it looks a bit more like a gun barrel, I need to do it on the other side. So now that I've got both sides done and I think it looks quite nice, I'm going to shape all of this bottom bit. So now I've shaped everything into a really nice rough shape, and I'm going to drill a hole in the end for this metal rod to go in. You should drill the hole a few inches in and make sure that it's directly straight so that the metal rod points straight with the gun. So I've drilled the hole now, and the metal rod just fits in like that, and it's almost completely straight. So now I'm going to glue this in and just put some pins through it for added safety. So I'm using a 2-part epoxy, and I'm just going to fill the hole up with it and then put the metal rod in. Now I'm just going to leave it to dry. So the glue is dried, and I've put 2 plastic cable ties around this barrel area, and I've put them on really tight just for added security, and I really cannot move this barrel at all. So now I'm going to work on the trigger mechanism. So first I'm going to drill a small pilot hole right here, 7.5 millimeters out from the notch. Then I'm going to enlarge the hole until it fits the 10 millimeter dowel which I'm going to be using for the trigger mechanism. Now print off and cut out the other parts of the slingshot crossbow and then draw them onto some thick plywood. These parts, especially this front piece, are going to be under a lot of strain, so make sure that the plywood that you're using is really strong. So that now that I've cut out both pieces, I'm going to file and rasp them into shape. So I successfully shaped both of these parts. So now I need to get 2 small bits of metal about 2 centimeters long each and drill a small hole in either side of here. Then I need to drill a hole the same diameter all the way through this piece of wood on the joint. So once I've done that, I need to now glue it onto here, and once I've glued it on, it will work like this, and this will be a good pivot. So now this is how the trigger mechanism should look. So when you pull the trigger, it pushes up this wooden dowel and then pushes the ball bearing off this notch, like this. Now I'm going to focus on this part here where the ball bearing sits in. So I start by drilling a hole and then gluing in a small magnet so that the ball bearing sits in place like that. And then when I shake it about, the ball bearing stays firmly in place and it won't fall out. When I pull the trigger, the ball bearing should easily be shifted off the notch. So I'm just going to round off these 2 bits here. So now the ball bearing sits nicely in there, and when you pull on it there's no give, and the pouch will sit on there really nicely. So now that the trigger mechanism is sorted, it's time to decide how long you want your slingshot pistol to be. Obviously the longer it will be, the heavier and more clumsy that it will be, but the shorter it is, the less powerful it will be, because rubber works better over longer distances. I think that a good compromise is around 40 centimeters of draw length, which is what I've got. Now we're going to work on this front slingshot part. So first I need to drill a hole at a slight downwards angle, which is the same diameter as my 10mm round rod. So I've drilled the hole and it's large enough for the slingshot fork to slide easily up and down the metal rod. So first you need to file a really gradual curve in this front bit here, where the bands are going to attach. So then you need to get a circular file or rasp, and then about 0.5 millimeter underneath the end of the gradual curve, you need to file a groove in half the rasp deep into the wood. So now I'm going to be showing you how to attach the slingshot bands to the slingshot. If you already know a good method of how to do this, or if you already know how to do this, just skip this step and do it yourself. But if you don't know how to attach slingshot bands, this is a really good method. So the bands which I'm going to be using is TheraBand Gold. This is the thickest of all of the TheraBands, and it's also the strongest. TheraBand is an exercise band that works really well for making and attaching slingshot bands, and you can buy it from most physio stores, on eBay and on Amazon. If you don't have TheraBand Gold, you can use other TheraBands such as TheraBand Black, and also other rubbers which you can use as office rubber and car tire inner tube, but TheraBand Gold will give the best performance. Also, latex rubber is sometimes commonly used. To cut the TheraBand, I'm going to be using a rotary cutter made for cutting wallpaper, but you can also just use a good pair of scissors. If you are using scissors, be careful that you don't leave little nicks in the TheraBand, because that can rip it. So if you're using TheraBand Gold, there's a useful band calculator made by joerg Sprave, and there'll be a link in the description of where you can find it. You simply just put in your band preferences and then click calculate, and it tells you how long you want your bands to be and how tapered you want them to be. This only works with TheraBand Gold, and if you're using other types of rubber, you'll have to find a different method. So once you've cut out the bands which you want, you need to make a pouch. This pouch is made from thick leather which is salvaged from an old boot. And as you can see, it's the same thickness as the ball bearing which I'm using. The pouch must have 2 holes near the edges, and it doesn't need a center hole, but I always like to have one. To make the holes, you can either use a hole puncher or you can use a drill. Now let's attach the bands to the pouch. So first you need to pull your bands through one of the holes in the pouch and then fold it over like that. Now you need to get a thin strip of the TheraBand or elastics which you're using and start to slowly wrap it tightly around the band attachment, like this. So once you get really close to the end and there's only enough of the TheraBand to wrap around the band attachment twice, then get a thin loop of string and place it over the band attachment, and then wrap the bands around it once all the way around, and then again, and then push it through this loop that you've made by the string and pull it through, and then pull the string through tight like this. And that band attachment is really strong and it's not going to come undone. Now repeat that on both sides and you've got a band set which you now need to attach to the fork. So first place your bands over the fork and make sure that they're straight, and then get another thin strip of TheraBand and start wrapping it around the bands on that notch where you made in the fork. Then use the exact same method with the string to pull the bands through. Then when you repeat that on the other side, it works as a normal slingshot fork. So here is when I encounter a massive problem. This slingshot fork is really uncomfortable to push forwards, and with all of the draw weight of the slingshot pistol, you need to really be able to counter all of it and push it forwards really easily. So I upgraded to this really nice, comfortable slingshot fork with a hole down the middle. You cut it out and shape it exactly the same way as this slingshot, and with the blueprints of this slingshot pistol I will include this design and not this uncomfortable design. So once you've got all of the band attachment and everything and all the trigger mechanism working, you're ready to go, and all you need to do is attach a piece of rubber on the end so that the slingshot fork can't accidentally fall off. So I decided that shooting it would be a lot more fun if I actually made 2. So I went out and made a second one, and now I can fire them both in each hand. So now let me show you how you load and shoot the weapon. So first you slide the slingshot fork all the way back until it's nearly touching the wood. Then you put the steel ball bearing which you're using on the magnet, and then you pull the bands and put them over it. Then you grab your slingshot tightly in your hand and you twist it and push it forwards, and then you push it all the way forwards and then release it, and it holds like that. But if you're getting tired as you're pushing it forwards, you can stop halfway, or if you don't want to do a fully powerful shot, you can stop halfway and it's fine. But I like to have mine full power. Then once you've loaded it, you point it and shoot. So when you're loading two of them, it's just as easy. You basically load the first one all the way, and then you put it down carefully and load the second one. Now I'm going to try shooting at a slightly longer range, but I'm only going to use one of them because when you've got two of them it makes it quite inaccurate. So thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any recommendations for what I should make in a future project, please just send me a personal message or post a comment down below.